This is the main quest of the Summer Update 2026, the Make Believe. Through doing this quest, you get access to the new island called Talasara, which introduces new creatures, although the Moonspawn don't have a designated respawn, and the Moonstones have a sort of hunting area, but seemingly for the level 500s or so. The first boss found is doable by 800s or so, but progressing the questline to unlock the Sky Castle introduces creatures of challenging difficulty, and 2 more bosses to do. All of this is content for higher levels, but is doable for teams of average level 1k in my opinion. However, there are no guaranteed rewards from doing this quest. The new outfit, new mount, and best in slot helmets and weapons are items dropped by the bosses. And before I start, let me clarify that this was recorded during the test server, and there could be changes before it hits the live version. With that said, let's begin the guide. Start off in Benor. On top of the temple, find Wayland Smithers. Follow the blue text in the conversation until you're given the option to infiltrate. You will be taken to a storage room, click on the crate by the entrance, and the goal here is to make it through the maze of crates to the northwest corner. There are guards on the path that will catch you at melee range. Staying further away is safe, but if you stand still for too long, your character will sneeze and that brings the guards close. Getting caught sends you to the Maior Domus. Just go back and try again by asking to infiltrate. Additionally, on the path, you will see these tiles. Stepping on them makes a noise to lure the guards in, but it can be stepped on if they are not close enough. Once you make it to the end, enter the teleport and your screen goes black like this. Don't worry, this is normal. Wait a few seconds and you'll land at Talasara. Go southeast and find the mayor. Again, follow the blue text in the conversation. Your next mission is to kill one of the Moonspawn Juggernauts, a sort of mini-boss of these creatures that are part of our raid system, so they are not always there. The one time we didn't find a Juggernaut, we walked around and killed some of the regular Moonspawns, and that ended up triggering the raid. Report back the mission, and coming next, you need to infiltrate the Moonstone's excavation site. First, find a cool initiate around this area, and then kill it and right-click on the body. This disguises you as one of them, and then heads out to this teleport. In this room, you need to memorize a color pattern. Click on the gong and go north to see the book doing a pattern of lightning. Write down the rotation of the 5 colors, and then click on these things to match it. If doing this in a group, only one person needs to do it. Now go out and head southeast to this teleport. Now you will be at the excavation site, which is a new spawn, with creatures comparable to Nagas. Here, you simply need to walk to the middle and fight this teleport. That takes you to the first boss, Mimar Haffar. For all the bosses of this quest, a new feature was introduced that lets you select the difficulty of the fight. At first, only level 0 and 1 are possible, with 0 being a learning mode with hardly any benefits other than practicing the mechanics, and level 1 being the basic boss. Defeating the boss grants 3 level higher to choose from in difficulty. This boss can be done by a group of level 800s, and I believe it drops the new helmets, but perhaps at a very low chance at level 1. Now for the fight, damage taken is mainly holy, physical, and life drain. The boss will be stuck in the middle invulnerable to damage. You will need to split your team to the upper floor by taking the yellow portal, and there you need to kill the Moonstone miners that respawn over time and loot the crystals they drop. You need a total of 20 crystals to charge the cannons, but they disappear after some time. For us, I will loot 10 to 13 and then go down and charge the cannons. It's important to know that even though there are 2 floors, there is a cooldown of moving between them of about 30 seconds. So whenever I went down to use the crystals, I couldn't immediately go back. So in this case, the shooters on top will continue to farm the crystals and then drop down with the remaining amount. During this time, in the main floor, the mechanic involves keeping the trap souls from reaching the boss. They only take holy damage, so it's highly recommended to leave a paladin there dealing with them. At the low difficulty, a level 1k can stay by himself, but later on in the fight, there will be more summons and he starts to get overrun and might need help. Optionally, EK can rest the trap souls and lure them north to drop them in an essence tank. This gets rid of them as well, but is less reliable, and because they also have a damage attack that does 25% of max HP as agony near them, it ends up being more dangerous to do this than it is to kill them with holy spells. Once both cannons have been charged, the boss is released and the damage phase begins. This lasts 30 seconds. Simply attack the boss as much as possible during this phase, and once it ends, repeat the steps again. The time limit for this fight is 15 minutes, and as you increase the difficulty, more damage is dealt, less taken by creatures, as well as better loot chances. Later on, an additional mechanic added. Moving on, after defeating the boss, you get access to the Sky Castle. Go back to the entrance of the excavation site and then head southwest. You will find the stairs that take you to the castle. Here you will need to find Dr. Marrow at the base floor through the southeast. Follow the blue text, and with that you have access to the next boss. But this one is located at the top of the castle. You will have to go through 4 floors of challenging creatures. Follow whatever path you find, there is many stairs to go up floors, and whether you kill your way in or run through is up to you. The damage of the creatures is a mix of physical, fire, holy, and ice on the first 2 floors, then physical, energy, holy on the last 2. Once you reach the top, take the path to the left and get to the second boss, Maior Domus. This boss is a 5-man fight with 15 minutes time limit. Damage taken is mainly physical, followed by fire and then holy. And against the boss, I believe energy and SDs seem to be the most effective. For the fight, once again, the boss will be invulnerable and you must do the mechanic to have damage phases. For this one, creature continues to respawn and depending on who does the last hit, a charge will be added to them. Monks and knights are the blue and everyone else is red. At the start, only use runes from the shooters to try and let the EK have the last hit. Stop at 20 charges and then take the boss away to the south. Meanwhile, everyone works on getting the remaining charges for 30 red ones. If you char up 30 red ones, the platform on the right can be activated. For 20 blues, the one to the left can be activated. And if you get them both at 30 and 20 charges respectively, the south platform can be activated. Each time you activate one, the boss will be attackable for 20 seconds, effectively giving you a minute of attacking if done properly. Upon the 20 seconds for damage phase ends, the boss teleports to the middle and it's mandatory that everyone stops attacks of all sorts. The boss heals per any attempt done and by a lot, so wait for EK to grab boss again and then step on the platform and repeat. Some good things to know is that while standing on top of the platforms, you gain a boost of skills. This works for all vocations on it. Additionally, when activating a platform, one person at random will be powerless for 8 seconds. But at the end of those 8 seconds, will explode and do an agony attack that can be used against the boss if done close to him. Lastly, the platforms act as safe zones. If you stand on the middle, creatures and boss can't get to you. After the first attack phase is over, we will have the paladin take the boss by himself to the south side, away from everything, while me as the EK will work on getting charges, and then upon reaching 20, I will swap places with the RP. This is important to do because the boss will continue to heal himself by any sort of damage. With that said, repeat the process of getting charges from the creatures again and work on getting the damage phases. That's all there is. Once you succeed, then on the same floor, walk north towards the final boss. At first, there will be a small room where a one-time access must be done. You will find 6 elite fanatics, which heal each other by a lot, so split them up and hit them down to low HP. Then they will be petrified, and then must be pushed into the special tiles. Do this for all 6, and then you can progress to the actual level room for Phosphorus. This boss is a 20-minute fight for up to 5 people. The damage taken is mainly physical, followed by holy, then fire and ice for the EK. On the first 2 phases, shooters will take mainly physical and fire. Then on the final fate against the boss, it will be mainly ice and fire on the shooters from the boss AoE. This boss fight consists of 3 phases. At first, you will find Phosphorus and creatures. There will be 5 platforms, and there will be a vocation rival in the room. This one needs to be lured and must be killed on its matching platform. Failing to do so will make the boss stronger and taking less damage. Additionally, a change that's not included on this recording is that rivals will do extra damage against other vocations that are not matching. As of now, I don't know how relevant this will be. Damage overall wasn't a struggle for our team, but if it ends up being considerably high to the point EK cannot do this part, then each vocation will have to grab aggro of its rival and tank it on the platform. There is a set order of EK, RP, MS, ED, and Monk, so you can be on the northern side of the room waiting for the rivals to respawn. Once the 5 rivals are dead, then the boss is vulnerable for 40 seconds, then stops taking damage again and the rival's phase must be repeated. Do this 3 to 4 times, and once it dies, it flees to a different room. A blue portal will appear on the right. This is not walkable and must be right-clicked to enter, but it will bring everyone at the same time. On this room, you will encounter Maior Domus and Mimar again. This is the most straightforward phase. Simply tank and attack. There will be creatures respawning that go on the shooters and they do physical, fire, and holy. But also storms are walking around the room and they can root around them, and this can be stacked by a different storm. The play might be to lure the summons on the EK or the RP, but be aware that the bosses cannot be res, and they retarget often. So getting near the boss likely will trigger a retarget and making it worse. Also, the boss must be kept in the middle of the room or else it will trigger an energy AoE attack in the room. On the second fight against Mimar, he has an AoE attack that if he hits the storms, they will do an energy attack around them which is also stackable. Kill both bosses and then a new portal appears, taking you to a rematch against Phosphorus on this final form. This time he will not respect extra rest and he has an AoE attack near his target that applies fear for 3 seconds. There will be summons appearing and disrupted energy respawnings. Something triggers these energy balls to explode and do an energy AoE around them that hits based on the max HP of the character. I don't know what it is, but be mindful of not being close to them if you are struggling. And what you must pay attention to is a curse that hits players randomly. You will receive a message when this happens, and one special tile in the room will appear. Walk over it to remove the curse, which will be doing 10% of the max HP of the player as agony damage, and after 8 seconds it will do an additional hit of nearly 30% of max HP. As a knight, this was very noticeable, and is highly recommended for shooters to spread across the room, to call out where the field appears for the person cursed to walk there. And that's all there is to the fight. A change that was made after this recording will be that summons respawning faster and retargeting more, but that also reduced the fear from 6 seconds to 3 seconds. As for the other mechanics that are gained with higher difficulty of the boss, I don't know what they are. Later on, if I'm able to do it on a higher difficulty, I will upload the fight. But for now, upon succeeding, you can talk the Waylander to the southwest of the castle, and the quest will be finished. The only reward is the ability to use the forge he oversees or to craft the illuminated warrior outfit. Both of these require items that are only obtained by doing the bosses in higher difficulty. And notably, to forge the stellar moon weapons, you will require a sanguine, sword, and base moon silver on top of the Arctic moon sigil, which is a drop from even higher difficulty Phosphorus. So likely we won't be seeing this that often. Lastly, an actual reward is that you get access to teleports east of Waylander that let you skip the run to the top of the castle to do the 2 bosses. With that said, that's all I got for this guide. If you find it helpful, consider subscribing.